Okay, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Talk Podcast. Grab yourself your favorite beverage, sit in tide. We will be taking a look at a young man who has decided never, ever again, never in his life to take out a woman on a date, right? Because of one incident. And I must say, I'm not here to make fun of anyone's situation, but this is someone who has either no self awareness, is not in the position of holding themselves accountable, or maybe just doesn't understand certain dynamics when it comes to dating, is just really gullible. Or maybe you were thinking you're gonna simp for someone who doesn't care for you, doesn't like you, right? You're gonna impress them with something superficial to get what you want because perhaps you never even had good intentions. That's why who knows? That's how you can find yourself in such a situation, right? It goes the same way for women. There are some women out there, they are entertaining certain men, not because they want to be with them, because they like them, because they're interested to learn about them. No, because they are looking for ways to, how do you say it nowadays? Finesse them, right? And sometimes when you choose to play a stupid game, you will win a stupid prize eventually. And this is a good example of it. And I hope that someone is going to learn something out of it. Um, because I think he's just going completely wrong about the whole situation, dramatizing it. And overall, don't get me wrong, I know this is just one example, but yet I believe it is good to use this one example and state some general points, some things that I have seen occur, right? Obviously, the same way it's not all women, it's not going to be all men. But with certain topics that we're having, you are going to find that there is, with certain topics, a smaller group of men or women, a larger group of men or women, a more general sentiment to certain things. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense, right? And he is not only a good example for, let's just summarize it under simping. Yeah, if you're being a simp, that's how you're going to get treated. If you're choosing to entertain women who do not like you for you, that's how you're going to get treated. If you're thinking you can get someone because you're spending money on them or because you're on the upper hand, and then actually you're just doing this because you want to have sexual entertainment, this is possibly what's going to happen to you. And on the other hand, I think this is a good example to show that unfortunately, well, you will have your lesson learned for those group of men, but also it will hit, unfortunately, some women who might not be aware of how things are working. Okay? There's a group of men out there who do not care at all. They're just about what they want. And if they don't get what they want, after investing in their mind, after playing the trick, they call them tricks, right? They put their money down to see how far they can go. They might not have something interesting about them. They might not be the most confident. They know that they have some money to waste, and that's how they're going to lead. Now, with these kind of men, you need to be careful. You don't think, yeah, I'm going to be smart and take something out of them. No, no, no. You need to be careful because the primary intention is not liking or loving you, is lusting over you. Is lusting over you to a degree that they know they cannot get you, but they're willing to put themselves in a bad position with the small chicken change that they have to get you. And then when it goes wrong, they're going to be angry, devastated, and blame you for their own wrong choices. And then within that subgroup of men, there's even a smaller group. There's some who have a lack of emotional control, right? Those are those crazy stories where you hear, for example, this is a real life story. OnlyFans girl getting attention from all these guys, yeah, whatever. At some point, there's this one guy who's kind of ghosting around the world, has no social skills, doesn't care to up himself, not doing anything to become more social, but has understand that if I pay X amount per month, I will be able to fulfill the lust and fantasy that I have towards this woman, and knowing that she is going to bend backwards for that money, right? And what happened over time in that extreme version, he became possessive. He's now put maybe $100, maybe $500, maybe $1,000, maybe $10,000 over a certain period of time. And now, given that he is kind of weird the way he shows up at your door and demands something you don't want to give, or you cannot give, or you're not even attempting ever to give anyone. And then what? So I'm just trying to say everyone needs to be more mindful. And do I believe that this is a bit extreme to say, you put yourself in a bad situation? This person was not entertaining you on the same level of likeness. You're actually trying to buy them. Now it didn't work out for you. Now, oh, all women are bad. I'm not going to take any woman on any date. Look, there are so many beautiful ways to set up a date. I believe in general, men or women, even if you're going out with your friends, don't put yourself in a situation, in a scenario, spending or pretending to live a life that you cannot afford. Don't do it. Don't invite people out on a date or like having fun. Even your family members, don't do it. And if you're doing things like that, communicate upfront what you can actually, stand on. What are you willing to commit to? Don't start pretending to be someone that you're not and then cry afterwards, and then plus blaming that other person who you actually try to draw into your life because you're flexing on something that you cannot even hold up to, right? So people need to be mindful. There are so many cute dates. I know everyone is trying to pretend that going on a coffee or having a nice walk is something so disgusting to do. Well, there are still so many other things you can do. There are things that are going to give you both a nice experience where you don't need to spend $1,000 on one day. Just saying, right? Just saying. Let's start the clip.
And don't judge me, but I don't take females out on dates. Like, it's just something I don't do. Like, I gotta really like you for me to take you out on a date. You feel me? But I do got a reason why I don't take females out on a date. So there was this one girl. She was like bad as fine, like body, face, mean, everything. So I had DM'd her. I kept DM'ing her, kept commenting on her story and everything. And she finally replied to me.
We need to listen carefully on this one because, as I said, there are different scenarios. There's situations where there was a genuine connection and that person really just, you couldn't see it coming, but already from jump, right? However, how attractive this person is to you. But you're trying to approach that person, no reaction. You're sending message, no reaction. You're commenting and liking, no reaction. You're literally doing the most. And then at some point, she reaches out. Like, if you're not some kind of celebrity that you could say, oops, it just happened, I didn't see your message, then just trust and believe that person did not care to see your message. I said what I said.
She finally replied to me, like, we busted up in the DM and everything. I'm talking to her. She's like, I'm like, yeah, I gotta take you out. Let's go out. She's like, all right, cool. And we could do that. Next day, she texts me and she's like, oh, pay for my hair. I'm like, how much your hair? She said, $275. I'm like, all right, cool. And
So now I'm thinking, oh, very quick demand very early on, but that's not even the most shocking part to me, to be very honest. There are people who get very unexpected or just above kind of treatment or whatever. But the main thing that I want to focus on this one is not necessarily the woman's behavior or choices or whatnot, it's his choices. Because if you are thinking to yourself, that is not what I want to do, that's not how I go about, that's not how I date, don't entertain that. And most importantly, if you don't have almost $300 to waste on something you're not going to have anything to do with, don't do it. So you played yourself. I'm sorry to say, you're just playing yourself.
Listen, y'all hear me say a lot as far as when a woman is really interested in a guy, whether because of her physical attraction towards him or because of her emotional impulsivity, that she will throw away all her boundaries and standards that she says she has as far as he need to be this and he need to have this much money. She'll throw it away because she's physically attracted to him. And whatever that thing is that he does to her, psychologically, she goes for it every time. Men are probably worse. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And there's something that some people need to hear. I could see some women thinking, why are you going there? right? Why are you going there? But this podcast is, I'm trying my best, right? No one is perfect. It's just to share awareness on both sides, right? And this doesn't mean everyone is like that. But unfortunately, in life, not only the dynamic between men and women while dating, but unfortunately, in life, some of us have had to learn it the hard way. There is something with human beings when you give too quick, too much, there's, instead of appreciation growing, in most cases, instead of the appreciation coming in, is the expectation. Is the expectation, attitude, demand, all these things are going to come instead of being humble and saying, wow, that is so nice. Even if that's an experience that you're used to, whatever the case may be, the general reaction of what I have heard and seen and people telling their stories and whatnot is that I gave, I did, I tried. And instead of getting, oh, thank you, I got a, what, is that it? Does that make sense? Parents even experience that. Well, you can argue to some degree. Of course, it depends how you raise your children, da, 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 if you spoil them early on, all that good stuff. But I hope people understand that general, unfortunate thing going on within us human beings. Now, with women, this is one of the things that I spoke on early on, 2, 3 years ago. Who knows? It's not all women. Especially there's a certain type of women. I'm not trying to put anyone in a box, okay? And I'm not trying to say every other woman is like less attractive or less desired. To me, it's just stupid if you're actually trying to compare to some kind of Instagram persona. But there is this thing nowadays where men or women are trying to pursue a certain image, right? I'll just summarize it under the plastic surgery kind of image, right? The fake bum, the big boobs, the thick lips, fillers, 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 that thing. And there's a group of men who find that highly attractive, or at least it is pleasant to the fantasies that they have, okay? Now, with that kind of lifestyle, circle, persona, whatever you want to call it, they kind of costs something, and there comes a certain kind of attitude with it, okay? Take that thought, hold it. Within that thought, I think you would find the same, where I'm going to, you would find the same kinds of behaviors with your average everyday kind of girl, which is a hypergamous natural behavior within women. Okay, not all are craving to always aim higher, better guy, new guy. Not, no, no. But there is something about us that we just are hypergamous. If you don't know what that means, try to understand. Look it up. Within the hypergamous nature, which is actually not that bad if you take it on a, you know, basic level. It protects the woman. Of course, you are more vulnerable. You want the best guy. So you're aiming for the man who can protect you and provide the most. Does that make sense? Okay. But what we're seeing nowadays is a shift of understanding. And I don't know how to say it. We're never going to be able to shift nature 100%, but it's almost like we've been trying to twist how things are supposed to go. That now you would see women, the baddies or the average girls, who would have set men flock to them. The good guy, the high achiever, and the douchebag. Okay? Now, there's one thing about the douchebag, perhaps. He's known, he's fun to be around, he has some danger to him. I don't know, but there's, we've all heard all these things. And why is it that for some women within baddies and average everyday girl, they would give it up, attention, body, all that good stuff, to the douchebag with zero expectations? While the good guy, the protective guy, the one who would supposed to be with you in the sense of making sense, that person is going to do more, and above. So I just went completely all over the place with this, trying to go back to him. Trying to go back to him. You were entertaining a woman that you cannot afford. You were entertaining a woman that you don't understand where she's coming from, her mindset. You don't know her. You were entertaining someone who is actually there to have a good fun time on her terms. And she showed you that right up front by saying, I need to get my hair done. I don't even know you. Whatever, you want to take me out. She's not even asking where we're going. She's not even interested. It's do what I tell you to do. And you performed. Good guy. Good for you. But you also got the outcome.
Men are probably actually worse because unless you are a guy who's been burnt already, so you learned your lesson, or you're just used to being around attractive women.
No. This happens to men who are actually not that much used to being around attractive women. I'm just going to say it. That would be connecting to the simp behavior. But there's another truth to this, right? Not because of him necessarily. I might have to make a different video on this. Within certain men, and I'm going to add a lot of men, there's something about them that they like to pursue exactly that. Women have that too. Exactly that they know is not going to be fitting. And what I mean by that is there's some men, a lot of them, who haven't admitted to themselves who they actually are. If you're using tricks on someone, you're a trickster. You're playing games, but you're expecting genuine and outstanding and great loyal outcomes. That does not make sense. So what I'm trying to say is that there are men out there who would rather entertain, choose, pursue, spend, bend backwards for the women who are literally shouting red flags, right? And then turn around and say all women are these and that, while they are the good women around, but because they haven't admitted to themselves that I am actually just as douchebaggish as they are, or I am not ready to admit to myself that I am still lusting over certain things. That's why I'm not committing to an actual woman who would fit, certain standards. No, you're lusting. You are in the same cycle. That's why you're entertaining this woman. So don't cry about it. When the outcome is this is the same thing how you have these basketball players, right? There are so many attractive young women out there, right, who show to be a certain kind of standard, but they would literally pick the ones from the strip club and then 5 years to come go on a podcast and be crying about how she took everything and wrecked him and how she's a streetwalker and all that good stuff. But if you were also honest to yourself, there's something within you that wanted that. You were lusting over a life that you cannot handle. Right?
So much so that you don't allow that to move you to the point where you end up making illogical decisions. Then, if you were able to get the attention of the woman who you've been fantasizing over, because that's what he was doing, he was fantasizing over.
I love that we
and not
agree.
because he saw her as a woman who he really wanted to get to know for relationship purposes, but simply because he was fantasizing about, damn, if I could have that, I already know. You don't even comment down below.
And just a quick notion, because we're not getting too far. I'm doing too much right now, but it's important to me. The same way there are these kinds of men out there, I know for a fact women also. Be honest to yourself. Know in what kind of circles you're moving. Know how you're presenting and putting yourself out there. Because then afterwards, tapping into that world, doing all these and all that, you cannot be surprised. Perhaps let's flip it on the woman's side. You're pursuing this guy who's shown you to have multiple women, all over the place, right? Spending lavish, doing this. Not the dad figure that you're claiming you want, the good guy, the God fearing, da 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 da. No. And yet you wanted that because he could give you the bags, he could give you the lifestyle, he could give you the BBLs or whatever they're seeking. Okay? And then 5 years to come, you're wondering when he's bringing another woman into the relationship. Oh, you're suddenly shocked when he wants to be like, yeah, and your opinion doesn't count because I got you that bag, remember? We need to be honest to ourselves, because when you're starting to be honest to yourself, whatever choice it's gonna make sense suddenly. Even if that wasn't my lifestyle, but if you were genuine to yourself and you knew who you are and you were honest to yourself and then going to that, it would be different how you deal with it. You wouldn't be sad about it. Just as him, you wouldn't be crying about the money at the end because you would have been honest to yourself.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. He was fantasizing about, damn, if I could get that, that'd be crazy. So much so that as soon as he got the opportunity, when she finally responded, that was his cue to say, "This."
And let me bet you guys he didn't get anything at the end. If you guys know what I mean. It didn't go nowhere. That's why he's even more upset, right? It's not like I spent the money, we did what we wanted to do or what he thought they were gonna be doing, and then he learned that, oh, she's kind of not my person, and then you're like, okay, we had a night, but I kind of wasted money on someone who's not my person. No, he's even pissed because after all the wasting and spending, you didn't get nothing. She probably even ghosted you.
No way I'm letting this moment slip by, because let me tell you what really happened. She gets a lot of attention from guys because they do find her highly attractive. And on this particular day, she went any, mini, miny, mo. Who gonna get my hair done for me? Let me know. He ended up being Mo. And she responded and reached out to him. And as soon as he took the bait, she knew she had him. So this wasn't some happenstance of, oh, if you're gonna take me out, then I might need to get my hair done. Could you take? No. She knew she needed her hair done long before she thought about even reaching out to him. He just happened to be the sucker that was gonna pay to get her hair done. And then guys like this will say things as far as, oh, I'm never gonna pay for a woman's date again. Yeah, of course you're not gonna want to pay for a woman's date again, dummy. This is the type of things you're gonna practice in the process. I don't think there's anything wrong with men taking women out, trying to court a woman to get to know her for relationship purposes. But when you start off from a place where you're just making poor decisions because you're thinking with the wrong head and you're not thinking straight up here, then don't sit there and blame that on the woman. Honestly, I'm gonna say that for real. Don't blame that on the woman. She finessed you only because you put yourself in a position where you could be finessed. Every man can't be finessed. There are plenty of guys out there who, if they would have heard a woman say, well, I want to, go out with you, but, I need my hair done. Click, block. The number you have dialed is no longer in service.